What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Plant Movement Podcast. I'm your host, Willie Rodriguez. Today's episode, guys, hold on tight because we're interviewing Marc, one of the co-founders of GoMaterials. GoMaterials is a company that sources plant products from all over North America and distributes them through the US and Canada. They saw the need for landscape contractors and just how much time it was taking them to be able to grab all the plants that they needed to fulfill landscaping. So they took it amongst themselves to create GoMaterials. I talked with one of the founders, Marc, today, and we just go back and forth on how they built their company. But what really gets me excited about this episode is it's two industry professionals, me and him, that know the brokerage market of plants very, very well, going back and forth on what we've just seen in the past, what's to come, the future, what it all entails. Marc is an innovator. He thinks about the future. That's what got me so excited to interview GoMaterials. They do so much for the community, for the vendors, for the guys that do deliveries, just so much. I'm excited to introduce you guys, Marc with GoMaterials.
Are you ready to grow? The Plant Movement with Willie Rodriguez of A's Ornamental Nursery in sunny South Florida is the podcast for those in the nursery business. Garden centers, landscapers, power growers, and plant enthusiasts. Willie is a passionate leader in the plant movement and has helped others grow their business into multi-million-dollar companies. This show will save you time, money, and headaches through top-notch education and by connecting you to experts in the industry. Let's grow. Here's your host, Willie Rodriguez.
What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Plant Movement Podcast. I'm your host, Willie Rodriguez. Today, guys, we have someone that intertwines with the plant industry, similar to what we do at A's Ornamental, and it is Marc Elliott from GoMaterials. What's up, man? How are you doing over there in Canada?
Willie, I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. We're over here having some fun today. We're doing this episode, guys, on a Zoom for you guys that are watching, that are listening. If you watch it on YouTube, it's going to be split screen Zoom is what it is today, because Marc could not be local or we could not fly to Canada. So thank God for Zoom. Thank God for technology.
Yeah, 100%.
And innovation. So, Marc, man, your story is inspiring, and it's inspiring to me in a big way because it screams innovation. It screams that you saw a problem within the industry and you took it amongst yourself to make that problem your problem.
Yeah.
All right. And make a change and a difference for everyone, allowing them to use a platform that is just amazing, dude. Like, I love innovation. Innovation in this industry is something that you don't see too often. You know, most people do the same thing as the guy next door. And that's just what it is. A copycat industry is what I call it. Yeah. And you, my friend, are a pioneer. And that's why I know this interview is going to be something special. I can't, you guys listening, hold on tight because that's what it's going to be. Marc, talk to me. Tell me what you were doing when this idea came to you and how GoMaterials came about. Talk to me and tell us.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the landscape industry or the green industry since I was 12. Got a job doing landscaping so I can buy some movie tickets and go to the movies with my friends. My father never gave me anything, and like, been bred as an entrepreneur since I was a kid, had to buy everything myself and figure it out. So at 16, started a landscape business with my brother after working in landscaping for 14 years. You know, as we were doing it, I was probably about 7-8 years into it. And we're getting into a lot of big projects, big city projects, huge commercial projects where in Canada, number one, brokers don't exist. So I was having to work with 7, 8, 9 different nurseries to find my product, try and figure out how to get them there logistically, send my guys picking up material, and just found it a complete headache. And saw an opportunity to solve this issue for landscape contractors. You know, saw that a lot of nurseries too were working with pen and paper, email communication, text messages, phone. So just wanted to bring about a way to streamline all this. And this was kind of at the boom of marketplaces when Airbnb came out and all this stuff. And I was like, well, you know, this would be a really cool idea to create a marketplace about this and bring all these vendors together under one source, organize logistics, you know, and that's where our mission comes about of making plant sourcing as easy as 1, 2, 3. That's what we do here at GoMaterials, and that's what we strive to do for contractors. Reached out to Mike, who is a friend since high school, early high school, and Shireen also. I think she helped organize this podcast. My two co-founders.
Yes.
Explained to them that I saw this opportunity and kind of kicked off the business there in early 2017 with a pilot year, and then 2018 really got things moving, sourcing materials all throughout Ontario and Quebec for contractors.
That's crazy, man. What a story. So does
Yeah.
the landscape business still exist? Your brother still does that?
Yeah, that's what I mentioned to before we actually got on the call. Incredibly successful business, and yeah, like they're probably one of our best customers too here in Montreal.
So you went from working with your brother to starting this. It took about a year to set it up. How long did it take to set it up?
Yeah, it was about a year, and then honestly, we had like an MVP product. You know how tech companies go. You got to get a minimum viable product to see if this actually works. We're actually working at the beginning off Google Sheets and all this fun little scrap together stuff. Found a tech co-founder a year later who started really developing the platform, developing the technology, and we went through a couple iterations there till we came about of what GoMaterials is today.
Okay, so explain to everybody how to use GoMaterials and for both sides. So for the landscape contractor and for the growers, because you growers listen to
Yeah. So we have 3 different platforms on GoMaterials. There's four: buyer interface, supplier interface. We have an inventory interface. So we take inventories from all our suppliers, store them, update them, and then an operations interface. So on the back end, we do have an operations team that makes sure your orders are going perfect, things are being picked up on time, quality is there. Essentially on the contractor side of things, and again, it's our mission, make plant sourcing as easy as 1, 2, 3. Upload your list to GoMaterials, Excel, PDF, screenshot. You can type it out if you want. We've had contractors write handwritten messages and take a picture of it. We have an OCR technology that will read that. It then matches it with the plants in our database. And then we have an operations team that will verify, source the material, get you back pricing availability along with a transport cost. You want to place your order. We have account managers. You can let your account manager know. You can do it directly online. So, click on the quote that's sent you through the platform. You can say place order, select the time and date, bill address, and we'll organize to get all your materials to you on your job site at that date in the most efficient way possible logistically. So we'll have trucks on the road the day before, picking up all the materials, gets loaded all in one truck and gets dropped off at your job site.
So I see you guys helping the landscapers, also helping the nurseries sell product, and then also helping the trucking industry as well, because all of this is sourced out. You guys are just the middleman to put it all together, correct?
Correct, yeah. And so the biggest tech on our platform is not customer facing, supplier interfacing. It's all the technology on the back end to help make this process more efficient and more reliable for the contractor. There's a lot of variables that go on, as you know, in delivering and shipping and handling plant material. So our goal is to make it as reliable as possible as well.
And how do you guys do it being in Canada, finding reputable vendors? Because that's something hard that I'm assuming you guys have dealt with that. People telling you that it's 16 inches on a 3-gallon plant. And when it shows up, you have the customer saying, hey, it's only 12. What have you guys done to weed out issues like that I'm sure being 5 years in, you guys have figured that out?
Yeah. So for me, it's always trust and verify. So like, I trust that a supplier, generally is going to want to deliver quality material, because if you're any somewhat of a business, you're not going to want to ship bad quality material. No one wants refused product. But what happens is when we do get refused product, we basically have a rating system for our suppliers on the back end. So when things do happen, we understand and there's communication amongst the whole team. So when you are, looking to, let's say, source from nursery XYZ, but we see that they've shipped 3 times and had three refused products, we're not going to ask them for material anymore. And we actually we've built an in-house quality assurance team. So we have a team in-house that's verifying either with picture requests, visiting nurseries, whatever it is, to make sure that we're shipping quality product for our material. So internally, and again, our mission is making plant sourcing easy as 1, 2, 3. For the contractor, that means getting your materials on site. They're hitting the specs, the quality's there. I mean, if they're not hitting specs, they're notified ahead of time and notify the architect. But we want to avoid issues on site as much as possible. So we also internally, each order that goes out has a score that gets scored on that order, whether material was refused, the driver was late, and then we can be proactive internally to make sure we're consistently delivering what we promised to the customer.
That's insane, man. You guys have an amazing operation, and it's all basically tech, like you said. How many people work in GoMaterials?
Including the tech team, we're roughly in the high 10. So I would say close to 50 around there.
50, 15?
Yeah, around there. 50, 50.
50.
Yeah.
Wow. So it is a big operation. You have a nice payroll.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not cheap.
Yeah,
We got to keep shipping materials.
yeah, 100%. No, but it's so cool. It's so cool. Bless you. It's so cool how you took it amongst yourself to really make something happen, and then also with the team that you guys have put together, your two partners, and getting tech involved, and now you guys are giving back to the community in a big way. And just for any landscape architect, at the end of the day, the fact that you can go on a platform that's different than a plant sourcing app or different than something like that, because what we see down here a lot, there's apps and then there's also booklets that get sent out. I don't want to say any names, guys. This is GoMaterials spotlight.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so you get me. So now you've taken it and you've kicked it up a notch, where you've taken it amongst yourself to put all the pressure on yourself to be able to come through for the client at the end of the day. And you guys are buying plants anywhere in the U.S., or you normally buy from Florida? Where are you guys bringing in material from? Just to give somebody
There's
somewhere else.
Yeah. This is actually in one of our trainings. There's a flow of plant material. So a lot from Florida to Texas, as you know, I'm sure you sell to Texas, Willie. We do a lot Florida up the Northeast, but not too far. A lot from Arizona into Texas, California to Texas, and then up the Northeast. So like, let's say you stay along the East Coast, you go a lot from south to east. So a lot of it goes from south to east. We do a lot out of New Jersey too. A lot of good growers in New Jersey, quality material. So yeah, I mean, buying all over the U.S.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like you can't, like Florida's known for tropical plants, and we ship.
Yeah,
Florida grows. Southern part of Florida grows about 85% of all the tropical plants shipped across the nation of the United States and into Canada as well. There's growers down here that have 500 acres, and their only customers are Canadians. You know, they're shipping. So it's like you guys have had to learn where all the plants are, what climates they grow in. You know, even to give, that information to your customer. Hey, I want to use these trees here, but they might die, dude. Like, you know that? Yeah, we know. Or, oh, we don't want that. Let's change it. Let's put something else. So you guys have really been able to learn so much of what's available and what's grown around the U.S., which is something that not too many people know. So that's a one-up right there that you guys have. So where can people go, meaning, let's say, landscape contractors or growers, vendors that are listening right now that want to be a part of GoMaterials, that want to jump on, and they want their list in your hands? Where do they go?
GoMaterials.com. So GO, materials with an S.com. You can sign up for free, and then we'll have someone from our team reach out to you, verify the legitimate business. If you're a supplier, on the supplier end, we would ask for an inventory list. On the customer end, I mean, once your account's approved, because again, it's for contractors only. All our pricing is commercial pricing. So we verify you're a legitimate contractor, and once it is approved, you can upload your list. If you do have any questions, I mean, feel free to reach out, info@gomaterials.com.
Yeah, guys. We're going to have all his information at the link in the bio. Whether you're listening to it or watching it, you're going to be able to get all his information there. We had asked you to provide us 3 topics you would like to talk about during this recording. And one of them is efficient sourcing tips. So talk to us about that.
I mean, the most efficient way is GoMaterials.
GoMaterials, guys.
Look, like at the end of the day, efficient sourcing, whether you can outsource it, is a great thing for your business. I know you're going to pay a bit more on the material, but think about it. You're saving a full-time salary, full-time job to do it. These, whatever it is, broker, platform, anything it is, these people do it day in, day out. They're very efficient. They have good networks with their suppliers. They have pre-negotiated discounts, whatever it is. So a lot of times too, you're not even saving that much money. To me, that's the most efficient way, is outsourcing it. If you do choose to do it in-house, and we have contractors that have done it in-house and have switched their operation to just working with us. But if you do choose to do it in-house, I would say make sure that you're well set up to receiving updated inventories from your suppliers. You're making sure that material is reserved ahead of time, but not too far ahead of time. And then communication with your customers, huge on efficiently sourcing. Because at the end of the day, something's available one day, it's not available the other. You need to make sure you're communicating to your end user, whether it's commercial building, the city, or a residential customer. Things change quickly, specs change, whatever it is. So that's really the 101 on efficient sourcing.
No, it's 100%. Everything you said there is spot on. It's very true. Not everyone thinks like that. It's like buying a car. It's like, all right, I'm going to buy the older car to save some money, but then you got to deal with it breaking down. Or it's like, hey, I'm going to go buy the new car, the new truck, I'm going to pay, 800, 1,000, 1,500 bucks in today's world for the truck. And now I get away from having any downtime. So that's basically what it is. It's like, do you want to deal with it on your own and have fun and try to learn all this and work 100 hours in a day? Or would you rather free up your time and let the pros take care of it? They can do exactly what you need them to do. And yes, you're going to pay a little bit more, but you're going to pay a little bit more regardless at the end of the day. And time is really so priceless. Time is so priceless.
100%.
It's like we service Florida, right? So what you guys do, we do it on a smaller scale. And I tell my customers, I tell them, guys, I could save you 50% of the time it takes you to do an install, allowing you to focus on your business and what's next. You guys are not professional sourcers. And it's the same thing. You guys are doing that, buying people time that's priceless. So your customer before can only do 20 installs a year, let's say. Now they're able to do 30, 40, 50 because now they have you. And also by having you, they have confidence. They have confidence showing up to any scale of job and instantly knowing that, hey, Mark and his team, they're going to back me up. So, hey, Mark, I quoted this job. Are the specs too big? What do you think? What is it? And to combat that, you guys have a blog that you guys created, and you have a couple other things. I know I'm jumping around, but you guys have something else that you've created that is just information in the palm of your hand. Talk to us about that, because that jumps into this, giving people confidence.
Yeah. So
this, guys.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, what you were talking about is basically opportunity cost. People tend to look at the real cost of things, but the real cost or the actual dollar cost is not always what you're generally saving at the end of the day. There's a big opportunity cost. Like you said, rather than doing 20 installs a year, you can maybe take that up to 30, 40. And if your margins go from, 15% down to 13, which, again, they probably won't, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of pre-negotiated discounts and buying in huge volumes. But even if they do, you've now doubled your actual cash in your pocket at the end of the day because you're able to install that much more. So that's
100%.
That's really what you were talking about. And then that's like, in terms of information, are you referring to like the information in terms of the inventory or just general knowledge about?
Tell me about the real quick about the blogs that you guys have created, and you guys have graphs and other things that showcase plants that are the shortages of plants, what's hot, what's not, what's available, what's not. Tell me about that real quick. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so that's like our marketing team does that, and I work pretty closely with them on building this out. And we're able to see what is being quoted in the industry, what what's having to offer a lot of substitutions on, and the inventory that we have on our side, what is actually available out there. And essentially, we put blogs together for people and for our contractors to make sure that when they're quoting jobs, let's say easiest one right now, red tip cocoa plum.
Yes.
Ain't available over 12 inches if you're lucky.
Yeah.
So when you're quoting a job for a customer, if you see that they're asking for 18-inch, 3-gallon red tip, like, don't go quoting that. Just let the customer know right off the bat. And again, that's where the communication piece is. So we have that information. We're able to easily communicate with our customers. We can then pass down the information to theirs, is that this ain't available at that size, or this is likely not going to be available when, if your job's turning around in a year or whatever it is, there's a good chance because of the supply and demand right now, this is likely won't be available. So be aware of a potential substitution. And right now in the Florida market, shrubs and even a lot of trees right now, hollies, good luck finding a holly over 2-inch. Trees, even slash pines. You used to be able to find a slash pine anywhere. Now it's harder and harder just to find a slash pine. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So guys, our team does that, really, again, share information.
Guys, jump on GoMaterials.com. You got to sign up. All right, which is, you don't have to pay for this. It's free, but they want your information. They want your email. They want to know who is watching and who's looking. And it's all to better themselves and better what they're doing. Jump on and go check it out and sign up for it, because it's great information that you can't find anywhere. And that's what really caught my eye. You guys even go above and beyond to put that out there. And at the end of the day, for you guys, it's good, because it's like, hey, let me send you our blog. And now you don't have to say this 1,000 times.
Yeah. And we've actually used those exact blog posts to send to customers who send to their like clients, general contractor, whatever it is. And they're like, hey, you need to put a deposit. Look at the information GoMaterials is providing us, who industry experts. put a deposit, or there's a chance that your material won't be available at that spec or at that price. So our contractors have actually used our blogs to help persuade their general contractors in making deposits, which everyone knows is a big fuss.
That to me is confidence, man. It gives your client confidence. It gives them confidence and
Yeah.
they trust you. And that we all know is very powerful in the business world. You got to really trust who you're working with. And if they're the pro in that area, don't try to swindle them or don't try to go do it on your own or whatever. Listen to what they say and take it and use it, and that will give you confidence in closing more deals and just coming through in a better manner, not wasting time. So cool. But look, now that we're talking about plant shortages, before we jump on, guys, we were talking about how the market is changing again. Mark was telling me that in Canada right now is jumping into summer, that they're a month into summer. He was talking about it, and now's their busy season. All right. And for us down here in Florida, we're coming out of spring. So spring is our busy season and summer is more of the slower season. I was explaining to him that if you have been in business for the past 3 or 4 years only, you've kind of been you've you've had the easier ride, let's say, on growing your business because everything has been climbing. Okay. Now that things around the world and also in the US have slowed down, when we see interest rates climbing, that stops the housing market. One of the biggest reasons why there was such a demand for everybody for outdoor landscaping and hardscapes and plant material was the housing boom. We're not seeing that today. We're seeing things shift, and that's not normal. It hasn't been normal for the past like 4 years, 3-4 years. It's basically been steady. We haven't seen really any seasons. It's just been go, 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 go. And now we're starting to see that. And he was talking about it now with the plants. The plant shortages are inevitable because of the demand we had. And now we're not seeing as many people planting as fast as they were before. We're also talking about the Florida market with the new bill that's passed with immigration. Immigration moves a lot of our industries, from construction to agriculture, horticulture, and those type of businesses. That's one thing that's also hindering, sales in general. And the plants being smaller, we're going to be seeing that continue for a little bit longer. But me being down here in Florida, I see that as time goes on, people slow down and plants get to grow. So like the other day on our stories on A's, I got to film 2.5 to 3 foot viburnum odos, which is the sweet viburnum in sevens. I haven't seen that in like a year. The norm has been, 18 to 22 inches. So we're starting to see some things grow, but there's still a big demand for certain items that there's just not the inventory available.
I agree with everything you're saying. And even you saw too during COVID, there was the increase in demand, but we were speaking to a lot of suppliers too. There was also I'm not sure exactly what it was. I think there was a lot of production on the plug material that had stopped due to COVID with shutdowns in the factories, whatever it is. But then again, there was a shortage on the actual supply to the suppliers who do the finished product. So it was kind of a double whammy on both sides where demand blew up and supply got constricted. And we felt the effects of that for what now, the last 3 years.
Yeah,
it's been a real struggle.
So it was liners for the plant, seeds, soils. So the peat that goes in the soil was also an issue. The pots, the plastic for the blow molds. They couldn't import the plastic. So fertilizer too, with the whole war in the war in Ukraine and Russia affected the fertilizer industry big time. I don't know if you know this, but a lot of the minerals to create fertilizers come from Canada, believe it or not. Canada's a big supplier. Yeah, Canada's a big supplier. And when the war started, they were pretty much the only supplier of these raw ingredients, these minerals, and they don't have enough to pump out to the world. So
that's crazy.
So I guess whoever had strings that they can pull inside of Canada were the ones that were able to get that material during that time. So we're playing catch up, basically, is what we're doing. Me, from a grower's aspect, it's playing catch up, and the industry as a whole needs to understand that. And I feel like the industry has grown to understand that, because when COVID did come and the prices started to climb because of the shortages and just all of that, I feel like since it was an industry problem, we were able to overcome it quickly because everybody was on the same boat. There was some people that had inventory still that they were able to actually make more money on the inventory because prices climbed. So hey, what did we see climb during the pandemic? Assets became very strong, and the prices just blew up, so people were able to make more money on that inventory. But I feel like if we do see a slowdown now, which we are feeling a slowdown for the first, let's say, time when it comes to summer. I've talked to a bunch of people down here, guys, and it's going to be good at the end of the day for the inventory, because plants are not an alternator that you just make it and put it on a shelf. These are actual live things that take time to grow. And then I want to get back to those specs that are like solid, where you feel so good sending something that's big to your customer, something that's really nice, not something little baby, like you said, a 12-inch cocoa plum. The norm on cocoa plum gallon used to be 18 to 20 inches. That was norm. 24 inches, a 7-gallon was 4 feet, 3.5 to 4. That's what it was 5 years ago. We haven't seen that in 4 to 5 years. So the fact that we can get back to that, I know the sales for all the growers isn't going to be there the same, because they've been used to flipping their inventory 3, 4, 5 times a year, living on that income, which that's going to change, and things are going to come back down to some type of normal sales for growers. But you don't have that problem because you guys have access to anything anywhere, which what makes it great.
Yeah.
And you guys,
the problem we had was actually finding it.
Yeah.
It made things more daunting, and then made logistics more expensive, because sometimes people don't budge. So, when you're used to grabbing, again, I keep going back to red tip cocoa plum, it's the simplest thing. When you're used to grabbing that from any nursery around the block at, like you said, an 18 to 24-inch spec, and all of a sudden the contractor wants it at 18 because the architect won't budge, whatever it is. You got to now look at 50 to 60 different nurseries, maybe go to 2, 3, 4 different nurseries to fill the order to get them all of that spec. So it definitely puts strain on the operation.
Yeah, it puts strain. And then, like, for you guys, once you find them, think about this, guys. Listen to this. They're going to 50 nurseries. They're calling 50 nurseries to see who has. 3 of them have enough to fulfill the order at that spec. When do you think he'll be able to get that spec again for that customer? It's going to be a long time. The only way you could do that, and Mark, this is a trick for you, which I'm sure you guys know, is pre-book inventory. Like if you look at your numbers from last year and you saw that you moved 20,000 cocoa plum 3-gallon, it's like, all right, who can we contact to do 10,000 of these for us? So now we have 10,000, and we'll do it in 3 different, sections, or 4. We'll do, 2,500, 2,500. We'll do 4 like that. And now we have inventory that's ours, So I'll teach you. You don't know.
You bring up a good point. We've tried that with a couple of contractors.
Okay.
For some, because there was big jobs that we had like 6 months out. Growers were like, man, I'm not holding material for you. Like, I can sell this thing 3 times over at 8 inches. Why am I going to hold it and let it get to 18?
I get it. Listen, I get it. I get it. And I understand that. But for me, bless you. For me, I see a way bigger opportunity when it comes to building a relationship by doing things out of the box and not looking at the dollar. Okay? Yeah. Because if you're looking at dollars, you're alone at the end of the day, because everyone will remember you for that. But when you die and you're at your funeral, you're going to have a lot of people there that actually cared about you, that will continue, let's say, your legacy and who you were as a person. And that is something that we do at A's for people like you. And we take it serious. We take it serious because I'm here, at the end of the day, to build a good business, you need to create bonds and long lasting bonds where, you guys that are vendors that are listening, you guys are growers, you can reach out and speak to them. And if you do stuff like this for them, all that's going to do is put you in a better place. Okay. If there's 20 nurseries that have that plant, Mark is going to say, hey, call John and see if John has them, please, because John's the one that always looks out for us. You're going to be first dibs all the time.
Of course.
And you're going to get treatment that others just won't. And that's why I think that is incorrect at the end of the day on scaling your business. And you can't just look for the money, guys. The money's going to come. Let's say I do that for Mark and I do 50,000 cocoa plum for you. Mark's not going to buy any cocoa plum for anywhere else. I'm going to have all his cocoa plum for the rest of his life. That will just create an opportunity, and that'll give him more confidence knowing that he has it, and he'll be able to get it there faster and just everything just works so much smoother, allowing Mark and his company to grow. So you got to think long term, and you got to think about others when it comes to that, Mark. If you guys are enjoying the content that we're putting out here on the Plant Movement Podcast, make sure to subscribe and follow, giving us a 5-star review. It really goes a long way. Also, share it with someone that can benefit from this content. As always, we want to continue connecting you with people in the green industry. And make sure you get in touch if you want to jump on the podcast. Let's go. Let's go to the next topic. We have quoting and purchasing trends. We've touched on some of these things, but quoting and purchasing trends that you guys have noticed. We'll just bring it back up and we'll dive a little deeper into it.
Yeah. For us, just in terms of quoting, what we've done too is because like we treat 2 types of bids on our platform. There's one, it's just a quote. So basically, contractor's bidding his job, needs budgetary pricing. You just want to make sure he's not shooting, they're shooting themselves in the foot at the end of the day. So in terms of that, like what we've started doing, especially since COVID hit, is like the prices go up 10 to 15 points because at the end of the day, if this job's going in a year, you don't even know what's going to happen anymore. And yes, there's a trend towards economic recession and whatever it is, but we've seen crazy things in the plant industry that we just want to make sure we have our contractors covered. So, you know, they're not eating their shorts if the job comes around to them. And at the end of the day, they can make a little more profit because if they get it and they're able to save at the end of the day another 10, 15 points in the material, that goes right in their pocket. We want to give that back to them. We're not a greedy company. We just love shipping plants and helping customers out. And then in terms of the purchasing, I mean, the biggest trend is just the number of nurseries we have to use on a single order is extraordinary. And we have, you know, our transport costs are through the roof right now. As you know, like
yes,
gas went up. There's a shortage of drivers. So, you know, on an average order, especially in Florida's probably one of the biggest, the toughest markets for that. On an average order, we're using 13 different nurseries, 10 different nurseries. And it's not because we're trying to, it's like just the product's not available and we have to go to that many different nurseries. So just in terms of purchasing trends, it's like the number of nurseries we need to go to fill an order has skyrocketed versus 5 years ago. 5 years ago, we could fill an order with 5 nurseries. Now it's gone up in the double digits or close to it on most orders.
And what are you guys doing? So let me paint the scenario. I am a landscape contractor. I have a big job. It's a $500,000 project and I am in New York City. Okay. Mm-hmm. And now I reach out to you guys and I tell you, hey, I need an estimate. I need a quote on this job. What do you guys do for that customer in terms of looking towards the future? Do you tag on 20%? Do you tag on 40? How do you make sure you don't, shoot yourself in the foot?
Yeah, of course. And it depends how far they say the project's going to be going out. So if it's an estimated from a year from now, on average, we'll do about a 10% versus what we quote as if it's going today.
Okay.
And again, if it comes around from a year from now and we can save the contractor 10% versus what we quoted, and we'll do that because we're more than happy to put more money back in our contractors' pockets. If it's going from 6 months from now, we because of what happened in COVID, we're estimating about an average of 5 to 10% a year, and that's what we've seen. You know, plant prices have gone up. Like 3-gallon cocoa plum, you could buy that at $3.50 about 3 years ago, and now it's at $4.50. So you've seen it go up on average about 10% a year. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what we're forecasting based off the past data.
Do you guys honor your estimates with the solid pricing that's there, or you guys put some type of clause at the bottom that if something shifts, you will tag it?
Clause is there at the end of the day, but if I have to pay more, I always tell our contractors, we do our best to honor what your pricing is. I want my contractor to make money because if he's making money, he's happy. If I can make a bit of money doing it, I'm happy. So we do our best to honor price. And if not, we have an explanation of it. We've written notes to architects saying, you know, we'll offer a sub like, hey, we want them to meet their pricing. And, you know, we did a job actually in Homestead, Losner Park.
Okay. It
was over $500,000 of plant material going into there. That was quoted back.
Down here?
Yeah, Losner Park. Yeah.
You guys got the job from Canada?
Yeah. $500,000 of Florida plants.
I love this. Okay.
But that was quoted in 2020, pre-COVID.
Okay.
$500,000 of material. My contractor's final cost went up about 1 to 2%. from 2020 to 2020, the end of 2022.
Okay.
So like that's the lengths we go through to try and hold pricing for our contractors.
Wow.
So if you understand, you know, pre-COVID, you got a quote and it only went up 2% post-COVID, right at like the peak of the shortages. That's pretty solid. Yeah. So that's the lengths. That's the lengths we go through for our contractors to make sure that they're making money on their jobs. And then at the end of the day, we always try. You know, I tell all my contractors, if you're bidding with our prices and you win the job, come back to us. We're more than happy to try and take some off the top and quote it with today's inventory and not like future prices kind of thing.
No, that's dude. It just screams, man. To me, all of this screams because the fact that you guys are in Canada and you got this job in Homestead. That for you guys listening, Homestead is just south of Miami, Florida, and this is the capital of the plants of the plant industry for Florida. And it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter. What matters is can you pull it off and can you come through? And that's what people want. They want to work with people that come through. And the fact that Marc and his team can come through, they don't care where Marc is. Marc can be having coffee in France. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And as long as Marc can pull it off, he can pull it off and they'll work with him. And that's crazy, man.
Just to add to that, we actually have another job. I won't give the location of it because it's like secret, but we should basically ship plants from the east, from Florida to the West Coast, somewhere in the West Coast. And a lot of it's coming from Florida, but it's $1.5 million plant material for a residential house going in. Yeah. So like that's the type of jobs that we want home.
So one residential house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, now that we're talking about that, because we went through pretty much all the questions, we have one more question at the bottom. Another thing that we were talking about was that both of us agree that we see the high-end market maintaining its strength. You want to give your 2 cents on that market just for people that are listening?
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, I still speak with a lot of our contractors. I love to like keep in touch with our customer because at the end of the day, I talk to them, all our customers, a lot of them on a daily basis. And the ones that we see suffering right now are the ones that, you know, kind of like we spoke to before for the actual reporting is the contractor that was doing the kind of middle class type of landscaping, the, you know, whatever, $30,000 to $50,000 projects. Those are the customer base that during COVID spent a lot of their money on their houses. So either, you know, with the recession coming, they're saving funds or they've already done their homes, but there's just that kind of market has dried up. Whereas on the higher end of things, you've seen, and we have contractors that focus on higher end projects and they're still going strong. It's slowed down a bit, but not even close to what the other types of contracts have. So yeah, I mean, it slowed down a bit, but a lot of that is still going strong. And like we spoke about before, what's still going strong is cities. Cities are always going to spend on plant material. I think that's a trend that's never going to die, especially given all the environmental concerns that are coming up, you know, and green spaces are a huge way to combat that. So cities have huge budgets to spend on streetscaping and all that stuff. But what we've seen is a lot of those contractors that their business is drying up have gotten into going after those city contracts. And all those city contracts are bids, basically lowest bidder wins. The city will then do an evaluation to see if your business is actually capable of executing the contract. But yeah, you know, contracts that used to have 5-6 bidders are now getting 10 plus bidders on them. So prices are getting a lot more competitive for the city. When people are out of work, they get desperate too, so they're going to bid lower.
They're going to bid lower, but they might bid themselves out of out of that completely because they're going to run into other problems while they're working on it. And if they don't make money a day, they might not be able to continue. And you're seeing this full circle right there in Montreal, being in the city and having your brother that's a landscaper. That gives you a lot of insight of what's, you know, going on besides just sourcing plant material for yourself. You're seeing, you know, what used to be 3 or 4 people bidding on a job. Now you're seeing 10. And that all comes from people leaving what they normally would do based off of how the market used to be. And now that the market has shifted, now they're having to go elsewhere to collect money to be able to pay the bills, basically.
Right.
Yeah. We're seeing that down here too. We're seeing the landscaper that would do like the $10,000 installs. He might not be doing that anymore. And now he's going back to maintenance or doing tree trimming. And yeah, we're seeing less of those $20,000 to $50,000 installs. We're seeing more of the 50 and up, 50 to $500,000 and stuff like that is what we're seeing, big projects. And it all has to do too with let's say the company, the name, the brand. These higher end people, they're not losing any money anytime soon. In a recession, they're only going to become more wealthy. So they're just going to spend more money. So that's why
100%.
that market is very strong to be in. And it's a very good market to be in during a recession. And that's what we're seeing. So that's what causes the slowdowns too. We had the housing market, guys, that was on fire. Everybody. And then you go on social media and everything is how to buy a house, how to become an entrepreneur, how to quit your job, all this stuff that it's not for everybody.
Everyone became a real estate agent too.
Everybody. Where are they at today? You barely even hear them anymore. So it's because it's dried up. It's a dried up market with the interest rates how it's been. And at the end of the day, if you're borrowing someone else's money to go invest it, you can only go so far because daddy might tell you, hey, I don't have no more money for you. If that's who it is, you got to have your own money. And so the people that we're seeing winning now are people that have their own money, their real money, which is the money comes from the top guys. All right. He wouldn't have a job. I wouldn't have a job. None of us would be working if the money didn't come from the top. So the money comes from the install, meaning wherever it's going to end up last, the plants. And that's what we're talking about here, scaling and getting into that higher end install or working for the higher end, because that's where I see that that's the train to get through the recession on a strong level and not feel the recession.
Just to touch on that, not to promote my brother's company, but they're actually franchising too. So
nice.
Their branding is super strong. It's incredible.
Northstone Landscaping or just Northstone?
Yeah. If you go on Google, type in Group Northstone.
Okay.
Fantastic. The jobs they do are incredible. They have a design team in-house. So they do designs all over the world, in fact. Installs mainly in Montreal. They just opened a franchise in Ontario this year. And I think in the next year or two, they're going to be looking at franchising in the US as well.
So that's made a lot of opportunity for people that want to jump in and be a part of something that they have, someone else on top that can guide them.
Yeah, 100%.
That sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun and a very strong, powerful company. That's a trend that we're seeing a lot too. We're seeing private equity firms investing into businesses, because at the end of the day, what is the strongest thing to have right now that brings the best ROI is a business. All right, real estate doesn't bring that ROI, guys. None of that brings it. It's having a business. Think about all the money you've made, Mark. You can't do that renting out a house.
It's a long return.
It's a different, it's a long return. So this is quicker, it's faster, and that's what these private equity firms they know more than we do. Invest into businesses that are thriving with people that are in management that want to climb the ladder and grow. So the fact that he wants to do that, he's a smart man. I don't know where your brother's at in status wise, but soon we'll see him. We'll see him on top talking about how he made $100 million.
Yeah. For sure. I wouldn't doubt it.
That'll be awesome, man. We'll get him on the podcast once it happens.
Yeah.
So sure. One of the last questions and things I want to talk about is, what advice do you have for individuals and businesses looking to grow in the green industry? You being an individual that has taken it amongst yourself along with your team members, but you being the head with the visionary of creating something powerful. What do you have to say to the green industry?
One piece of advice, I would say communication. To whoever, it's the most important thing is clear communication to every party involved. Because at the end of the day, we're dealing with material. And what I say is the material is like a piece of art. You may go look at a painting of Van Gogh and think it's the ugliest thing in the world. And I may go and look at it and think it's the beautiful thing in the world. Yes, there's standards at the end of the day, but there's a bunch of people that find trees that don't meet the standards beautiful. So communication to your customer at the end of the day, and to whoever it is, end user, all stakeholders, is the most important thing in the green industry, I would say.
Awesome. So you feel that telling the truth is what people need to do more of?
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. Tell you that and communication, and I would say also just organization. Just being a bit ahead of the game, so you're not last minute, because that puts a lot of stress on whatever it is, suppliers, your customer, your crew. So yeah.
Well, I feel like you guys are very well put together, and you're kind of like an alien in the plant world. And let me tell you why. Just the fact that you guys are as advanced as you are, it puts you in a league that is just different. Okay, and there's not many. There's not many that are advanced like that. The norm is, like you said, pen and paper. Now people are starting to use QuickBooks and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but that's not. It's not the norm. It's not the
Yeah.
norm 100% throughout the industry. I know with the people that you work with, that is the norm. Okay, with most of them, let's say you work with bigger nurseries that they're better put together. But I'm sure
Mhm.
there's still times where you're like, man, why are they doing it like this? They can do it
Yeah.
like this. But go to the real nurseries. Have you been out here to Miami to Homestead and driven around the nursery?
Yeah. A lot. Yeah.
No, a lot of people don't even they don't have none of that. It's mom and pops, old school, no technology at all. They just got a phone that they can snap a picture. When they go to snap the picture, it's more of the pot than it is the plant, and
Yeah.
it's just different. So you're a shark swimming with little guppies when it comes to the technology side of things, and it makes you stand
For
out
sure.
immensely. And for you guys listening, get put together. If you're well put together, you're going to be observed differently. How do you think GoMaterials got a $500,000 order being in Montreal, Canada, and the plants got shipped and picked up right here locally and shipped 5 miles away? Because they're put together, guys. People want to work with professionals that bring confidence to the table. And that's what Mark and his team has done. So kudos to you guys, man. I love what you guys are doing, the innovation side of it, the tech side of it. We need more of this. We're going to be doing an episode talking about technology in this space because I feel that it is not here at all. There's a few people doing it, but there's so much more opportunity, and there's businesses that can be created that can hit $100 million a year by bringing tech and by bringing innovation to this industry that is not a tech and innovation industry 100%. So I commend
I
you
would.
guys for doing it. I love you guys for that.
Yeah. I would agree with you there. And for me and Go Materials, the big opportunity, and like you said, there's a lot of people that are, you know, not on board with the tech, and I think I think it's just a lack of being comfortable with it. You don't grow up with the tech, and I think there's a huge opportunity to create easy to use tech that can have users easily adapt to the tech. And I think there's a huge opportunity. That's what we're looking to achieve as Go Materials. Again, goes with our mission, making plant sourcing as easy as 1, 2, 3. So right now our big focus is on the contractor side, but there is going to come a day in the future where our focus is on the vendor side of things in terms of the inventory, the supply, the photos, all that stuff. That's kind of in the near to medium future where we want to focus on that. And again, our goal, keep it pretty and make plant sourcing as easy as 1, 2, 3. And we really want to help green industry professionals thrive. And I think there's a big lack of people adopting a technology, but I think it's a huge part in it is the technology that's out there is either not customized enough or built like it's a big market, but a small market and no one pays attention to it. And I think there's a huge opportunity to create technology that's simple to use, user friendly, that is just not out there and people aren't using it today. So I agree, and I think there's a huge opportunity. That's where we want to position ourselves.
There's going to be a lot of opportunity, Mark.
Yeah, I appreciate
Mark,
that.
I have another question.
Yes.
How much time do you spend on innovating the next moves for Go Material? Because I feel like you are a guy that spends time doing that. How much time do you spend on the future of Go Materials, and do you see a need for Go Materials to continue to evolve?
So if I don't know if you heard, like recently I actually, so I'm my partner Mike, Shireen, and myself. I am very much an operator. I love being in the weeds, and that's what I was telling you. I speak to our customers every day. I love that. There's nothing more like I'm in love with landscape contractors, even though they can be a pain sometimes. That's what I service. And I love the green industry. There's nothing more that makes me happier when I walk down the street and I see just street trees, mature ones lined up, canopying the road. Recently, I switched positions with my partner Mike, who's now CEO, and I've taken on the position of COO. So I focus less time on actually planning the actual technology. Kind of makes up an hour to a couple hours of my week where I do sit down with my two co-founders, kind of give my 2 cents, because at the end of the day, in this company, I am still one of the best experts at the whole industry. I have extreme knowledge of the industry more than anyone else. And there's a running joke at the company that I'm the best plant sourcer in the world, just because I source all over North America. There's no one that does sources and knows nurseries all over North America. You give me a tree, I'll tell you 15 suppliers that have it at that size, that caliber. It's just like a Bible in my head. So I do contribute to it, but then I let them run with it at the end of the day, and then kind of give my 2 cents
So
every
my
now and then.
question should have been redirected. GoMaterials instead of you. Let's say GoMaterials. GoMaterials spend time on innovating and to see where the company can be in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. You guys spend time doing all that.
We have a full tech team of eight to 10 people doing that full time, with our co-founder Shireen, who's heading up the product, and that's pretty much her full-time job.
That's
on
awesome.
that. So
I say that because people listen to our podcast. One of the things that a lot of people wonder is how to scale, and then people think that scaling is just, buying more real estate or buying this or buying that. And it's not 100% just that. A lot of it is what your moves are for the future. And are you thinking about what your moves are and innovating and pushing towards that? So the fact that you guys have 8 people on staff, it's like your train is at 100 miles an hour. So have fun catching up, guys. Materials for the win. No, it's exciting, man. If I ever have time to go up there, I'd love to meet you guys and just see how everything is, man. To me, I'm all about that, and I love it. So to meet you through Zoom, and to be talking back and forth just about what you do and how this has all been created and the team and just everything. It's like, man, this is so cool that someone else in the industry is pushing and thriving to build something community-based for our industry. Not doing it for something else. You're doing it for everybody, and everybody can benefit, guys. If you're a truck driver and you're slow, jump on GoMaterials. Let them know you have a truck. If you're a nursery and you have 18-inch cocoa plum, send them a message. Let them know. Okay, get on their lists. Get on their list so they can use you. All right. And then also, if you are a landscaper anywhere in the region and you're looking for product and the people that you use can't find it for you, give them a shout. Like he said, they call them the walking Bible of plant material in the nation. That is a niche that many people do not have. All right. There's very few people, I would say, in the nation that can tell you where everything is like that, just in the nation. So kudos to you, man. Keep doing your hard work, and it shows, man. And you're going to help a lot of people, saving them time, you guys as a company. And I can't wait to see what GoMaterials brings up next in the next 3 to 5 years. I'm excited to see what you guys bring to the table. I'm going to put the pressure on you, bro.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Willie. Thank you for the confidence.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Do you have anything else you want to tell anybody?
No, I've covered it all.
All right, guys. I hope you.
I really, really appreciate that.
Thank you for taking your time. All right, and spending it with us all the way from Montreal, and we're in Miami. So thank God for Zoom. Be safe, my brother. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. If you want to reach out to them, all their stuff is going to be in the link in the bio. Again, this is Mark, one of the 3 founders of GoMaterial. So thank your team too. We love you guys, and we hope nothing for the best. And for everyone else listening, stay tuned, because you know that the next episode is going to be straight fire. God bless everybody. God bless you, Mark, the team, and we'll see you later.
Thank you for listening to this edition of The Plant Movement. Willie and Eddie invite you to connect with them on Instagram at both The Plant Movement Podcast and A's Ornamental Nursery. Those links are in the show description. Please leave us a well-worded 5-star review on Apple Podcasts to help others find the show. And remember to tap the follow button so that you'll be notified when the next edition of The Plant Movement is available.